Grounded my son for lying about his stepmom, hitting him, but then found out he was telling the truth. Now my wife's gone, my son refuses to speak to me, and I'm realizing I chose the wrong person to protect. I'm a 38-year-old dad with a 14-year-old son, Dante, from my first marriage. His mom and I split when he was 8, and while we've had our ups and downs with co-parenting, we've managed to keep things stable for him. Dante lives with me during the week and stays with his mom on weekends. 2 years ago, I remarried. My wife, Emma, is 35, no kids of her own, and when we met, she was the type of woman who seemed to have her whole life together. She's organized, career-focused, never late for anything, the kind of person who has spreadsheets for vacation planning. I'll admit that stability was part of what drew me in after a messy divorce. When she and Dante first met, things were fine. She was patient, friendly, even tried to bond with him through small stuff like helping with homework or baking. But the older he got, the more tension I started noticing between them. Nothing explosive at first, just small power struggles, her correcting him over tone, him rolling his eyes, her wanting more structure, him feeling like she was overstepping. I'll be honest, I'm a firm parent. I don't yell, but I don't play around with disrespect either. My house has rules, and I stick to them. So when Emma called me one afternoon saying Dante had blown up at her over screen time and gotten physical, I was furious. She told me he'd shoved her after she took his phone. When I got home, Dante was in his room, silent. Emma explained what happened again, saying he was completely out of control, and she felt unsafe. I went to talk to him, and he said flat out that she slapped him first, that she lost it because he wouldn't hand over the phone. I didn't believe him. Not because I think he's a liar, but because that's a serious thing to accuse someone of, and Emma didn't seem shaken or angry. She was calm, almost disappointed. Dante, on the other hand, just looked shut down. I asked him for details, but he clammed up. He said he didn't want to talk about it. That was it. So I did what I thought was right at the time. I told him that lying about something like that wasn't just wrong, it could ruin lives. I took his phone, grounded him for 2 weeks, no exceptions. He didn't argue, didn't yell, didn't cry, just nodded and went quiet. The next few days, something about the whole thing started bugging me. Emma acted overly composed, too measured, like she was following a script. She'd make these comments about how teenage boys test boundaries, and you can't let them think they run the house. It rubbed me wrong, but I brushed it off because I didn't want to start doubting my wife over what I thought was just normal teen-parent friction. Still, Dante's behavior after that wasn't what I expected. Usually when he's mad, it's obvious door slamming, muttering under his breath, that kind of thing. This time, he was just distant, polite, but cold, barely spoke at dinner, spent more time at his mom's when he could. I'd try talking, and he'd just say everything was fine, and leave it at that. The thing that really started getting under my skin was how Emma kept bringing it up. Not in a worried way, but in this, I hope you understand I was trying to parent kind of tone. She'd say things like, he needs to learn I'm not the enemy, or he has to respect that I'm also a parent figure. It felt like she was trying to convince me of something instead of just letting it go. I started replaying the whole situation in my head, how she was the one to call me first, how she described things so calmly, how Dante never once raised his voice afterward. I tried to shake it off, but that feeling that something wasn't lining up wouldn't go away. I haven't confronted either of them again yet, but I'm starting to feel uneasy. I know teenagers can push limits, and I'm not naive. They'll twist stories to get out of trouble sometimes. But I also know what it looks like when someone's trying to control a narrative, and Emma's been doing a lot of that lately. For example, she's started making small digs about Dante when we're alone, saying things like, he's starting to get manipulative, or he's getting that rebellious streak from his mom. It's subtle, but it's starting to sound less like concern and more like resentment. I keep catching myself defending him, even though I'm the one who grounded him. I don't like how this feels like I'm being pushed into picking a side in my own house. I'm not writing this to bash my wife. Up until this, she's been a good partner. But if she actually hit my son, if there's any truth to that, I need to know. Because I don't care who it is. I'm not the kind of man who lets someone lay a hand on my kid and walks away from it. I haven't told anyone about this yet, not even my ex-wife. I know she'd lose it if she found out what Dante said, and honestly, I don't want to start a war unless I'm sure. But something about Emma's story doesn't sit right with me anymore. I'm starting to realize that being a firm parent doesn't mean automatically believing the adult over the kid. It means protecting them, even when it's inconvenient, even when it means questioning the person you sleep next to. So here I am, second-guessing myself. Did I handle this right? Did I miss something? I won't tolerate lies in my house, But if Dante was telling the truth, I don't know how I'm going to look him in the eye. I won't make excuses for him if he lied, but I also won't sit back if he was telling the truth. Update 1. So, I did what a lot of people here suggested. I stopped second-guessing my gut and paid attention to what was actually happening around me. It didn't take long for the cracks to show. A few days after my post, Emma's version of the incident started to change. First, she said it happened in the living room while she was taking Dante's phone. Then later, she said it happened in the kitchen while she was trying to calm him down. Those might sound like small differences, but when you've got a house with cameras in common areas, details like where something happened start to matter. That was what made me check. I wasn't looking for proof at first, I just wanted to clear my own head because I'd been replaying the situation over and over. So I pulled up the footage from the living room camera. There's no sound, but there's a clear view of the whole space. And there it was. Dante sitting on the couch, phone in hand. Emma standing over him, snatching it away. He gets up fast, like he's trying to explain something. She points at him. He shakes his head. Then she slaps him. Full arm movement, no mistaking it. He flinches, steps back, and she storms off. I don't think I breathed for a solid minute. I felt sick. Not just because of what I saw, but because I realized how fast I'd dismissed him. My first instinct was anger, not sadness, not guilt. Just cold anger. I didn't confront her right away. I wanted to see what she'd do if I played dumb. That night, I mentioned how quiet Dante had been, and Emma said she was trying to give him space after his outburst. She even said she felt unsafe around him, which, looking back, was her setting up her own defense. I just nodded and let her talk. The next morning, I called a lawyer friend. I told him what I saw and asked what my options were. He said since Dante's a minor, and since I have proof she physically struck him, I could legally have her removed if she refused to leave. I made sure to save the footage on multiple drives and sent copies to him and my brother just in case. That evening, I asked her to sit down. I told her I'd re-watch the footage from that day. Her face went pale immediately. She tried to play it off, at first said it was a reflex, that Dante had scared her by getting up too fast. Then came the tears. She said she loved him, that she'd never mean to hurt him, that she didn't think it connected. I just told her she needed to pack her stuff. She went from crying to threatening in seconds, said she'd tell everyone I was abusive, that I was throwing her out with nowhere to go. So I hit record on my phone, called my brother, and had him come over. When he got there, I played the clip for him too. No one could mistake what it showed. She packed her bags while he stood there in silence, and I walked her out. After she left, I drove straight to my ex's place. It was around 1 in the morning, but I didn't care. I needed to face this head on. I told her everything, showed her the footage, and admitted I'd been wrong. She didn't yell or gloat, just looked at me with that expression that says, finally. Dante didn't want to talk. He wouldn't even look at me. And honestly, I didn't blame him. I told him I'd seen everything, and that she'd never set foot in my house again. I told him I handled it wrong, but that I was fixing it. I didn't ask for forgiveness because I know I haven't earned it yet. Right now, the house is quiet. Her things are still here, but that won't be for long. I've already spoken to a lawyer about next steps. I'm done being manipulated. I'm done trying to keep the peace at the cost of my kid's safety. I raised Dante to stand up for himself. It's about time I did the same. If there's fallout, there's fallout. I'd rather be divorced than a coward. Update 2. After I kicked Emma out, I thought that would be the end of it. Then the next few days were quiet at first. I focused on Dante. He still didn't want to come home, which I understood. I told him I'd meet him anywhere he felt comfortable, so we started having dinner in my car outside his mom's place after I got off work. No pressure, no lectures, just food, silence, and a little bit of normalcy. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Meanwhile, Emma started doing what I knew she would, playing the victim. She posted vague things online about being betrayed by people who believe lies. She told her friends I'd thrown her out for standing up to my out-of-control son. Her family started calling me, asking what kind of man kicks his wife out over a misunderstanding. I didn't respond with emotion. I just sent them a copy of the security footage and ended the call. That was it. No explanations, no back and forth. If they wanted to believe her, fine, but they couldn't say they didn't know the truth. Then things escalated. Emma somehow got a new number and texted Dante directly. It was short but ugly, basically blaming him for ruining everything. He didn't respond, just showed me his phone. I could see his hand shaking when he handed it over. I told him I was proud of him for showing me instead of hiding it. I forwarded the message straight to my lawyer and filed a harassment report. That was the moment I decided I wasn't just going to react anymore. I was going to make sure she couldn't touch either of us again. Her parents tried calling again, this time saying I'd traumatized her by throwing her onto the street. I reminded them she hit my son and lied about it, then sent the video again. They didn't have much to say after that. My ex-wife Sarah was cautious at first. I think she wanted to see if I was really going to take accountability this time. She told me straight up that if I ever chose anyone else over Dante again, she'd take full custody and never look back. I told her I understood. She didn't have to threaten me. I already knew I'd failed once, and that was enough. Things with my mom didn't go smoothly either. She said I should have handled it privately, that it wasn't right to ruin Emma's reputation. That was the last straw for me. I told her she could either support her grandson or stay out of it entirely. I haven't spoken to her since. I love my mom, but I'm done with people who prioritize appearances over safety. At work, I kept my head down and my focus on what mattered. I set up cameras in every common area of the house, changed the locks, and made sure Emma couldn't access anything, not even the Wi-Fi. My lawyer filed an official separation notice so she couldn't claim abandonment or marital property access later. Meanwhile, Dante was still distant. He'd eat dinner quietly, say goodnight, and that was it. I didn't push. I just showed up every day, even if it was only for half an hour. I wanted him to see that I was consistent, not just sorry. About a week later, Emma's cousin reached out. He said she'd been telling everyone I manipulated the footage. I told him if that's what she wanted to claim, she could explain it to the police, because I'd already filed the footage as part of the harassment case. Funny enough, I didn't hear from her side of the family after that. I've learned people like her thrive on chaos. They expect you to explode, argue, give them something to twist. The best way to deal with them is to be calm, thorough, and 3 steps ahead. Every accusation she's made, I've countered with proof. Every lie, I've documented. My ex told me Dante asked her why I wasn't angry anymore. I think that surprised him. I told her to tell him the truth. I'm not angry, I'm just done wasting energy on the wrong person. He's still not ready to move back home, and that's okay. I told him he doesn't have to rush. When he's ready, the door's open, and everything that reminds him of her is gone. I've already cleared out her things, even the furniture she picked. I'm not keeping anything that ties her to that house. Emma's last attempt to get under my skin came when she emailed me saying she still loved me and that we could make this work if I stopped letting my son control me. I didn't reply. I just forwarded it to my lawyer and added it to the case file. The police contacted her family a few days later about the harassment report. I don't know what they said, but the messages and online posts stopped completely after that. Dante's been quiet but calmer. The other night, he asked if we could go shoot hoops this weekend. It was the first thing he's initiated since this started. I told him yes, no hesitation. It might not seem like much, but to me, that was a sign that maybe he's starting to believe me when I say things are different now. Update 3. So, things escalated. A lot. After my last update, I thought I'd finally gotten some breathing room. Emma was out of the house, her family had backed off, and the police had already spoken to her about the harassment messages. For the first time in weeks, things were quiet. Too quiet, honestly, and I should have known she wasn't going to take losing control that easily. A few days later, I got a call from a detective asking if I could come down to the station to clarify something. Turns out, Emma had filed a harassment complaint against me. She claimed I'd been driving by her apartment, following her to work, and trying to intimidate her. I didn't even react when they told me. I just asked if I could bring proof. They said yes. I pulled up with my dashcam footage from the last 2 weeks' timestamps, routes, everything. I also gave them copies of her text to Dante, the "you ruined everything" ones, plus the recording of her threatening to tell everyone I was abusive when I told her to leave. The detective didn't even hide his expression. He knew exactly what this was. False report. I was cleared the same day. Still, the fact that she'd tried to flip it like that, I can't even describe how disgusted I felt. Not even surprised, just done. She couldn't take accountability, so she tried to make herself the victim. Classic. Word spread quickly after that. She worked at a local school as an admin assistant. Apparently, she'd been telling coworkers that she escaped a toxic household and was being stalked by an ex. But once the police report hit the system and her harassment complaint got thrown out, her employer launched an internal review. She was put on leave almost immediately. I didn't have to say a word, the truth did it for me. Then out of nowhere, her sister called me. I didn't pick up at first, but she left a voicemail basically saying she was sorry for what happened and that Emma had admitted she did slap Dante but called it a reflex. She said Emma was spiraling, trying to justify herself, and that their parents were angry because they'd defended her publicly. I called back, told her I appreciated her honesty and that if she was willing to give a statement confirming what Emma said, I'd pass it to my lawyer. She agreed. That was the final nail I needed. My lawyer told me to file for divorce under fault grounds domestic violence and emotional cruelty. He said the video evidence, her texts, and now the sister's statement made it airtight. I signed the paperwork the next day. I didn't even hesitate. The funny part? My own family, the same people who accused me of overreacting and shouldn't air private matters, suddenly started reaching out. My mom called crying, saying she didn't know it was that serious. My brother texted a half-assed apology about wanting to stay neutral. I didn't blow up, but I didn't play nice either. I told them straight, if you couldn't stand beside me when it was about protecting my son, don't bother standing beside me now that it's convenient. Dante's been slowly warming up again. It's not easy, he's cautious. I get it. I don't push. After everything, I'm not going to demand trust I haven't earned. He comes by the house sometimes, usually just for an hour or two. We'll order takeout, maybe watch something dumb on TV, and that's enough. He doesn't talk much, but the silence doesn't feel hostile anymore, more like healing in progress. Of course, Emma couldn't leave well enough alone. She tried to contact Dante through one of his friends, asking if he'd be willing to talk to clear things up. I found out about it the same night and immediately went through my lawyer. He filed for a restraining order the next morning, and it was granted within the week. She's officially not allowed to contact either of us directly or indirectly. Final update. I think I can finally breathe from everything that's happened. Emma's gone. The divorce is finalized. The restraining order is permanent. She tried appealing it, but between the footage, the messages, and her own sister's statement, it didn't go anywhere. She vanished from the town not long after moved in with a friend 2 cities over, from what I heard. I haven't seen or heard from her since, and I plan to keep it that way. Dante stayed with his mom for a while after it all happened. I didn't blame him. I just told him I'd be here when he was ready. I didn't chase, didn't push, just kept showing up. Brought dinner to his mom's driveway every Friday. Dropped off things he liked, helped him with homework from the car if he let me. Some nights he'd sit in the passenger seat and just scroll on his phone in silence. I didn't say much either. I figured consistency would speak louder than apologies. Then, one night, maybe a month ago, he asked if I wanted to come to his basketball game. It caught me off guard, but I said yes immediately. That night wasn't about fixing anything. It was about being there, no conditions. He didn't talk to me much after the game, but he didn't shut down either. That's when I knew we were turning a corner. A week later, we went to our first counseling session. Family therapy. I was nervous. Honestly, not because I was afraid to face anything, but because I didn't want him to think it was just another adult telling him what to feel. But the counselor was solid. She didn't let me off easy either. She made me sit with the guilt, but not drown in it. She said something that stuck with me, that protecting your kid isn't just about stepping in when danger shows up. It's about believing them before the danger gets the chance to repeat itself. And then, 2 sessions ago, Dante finally told me everything. Turns out Emma's slap wasn't some one-time reflex like she tried to claim. It started months before, little things. She'd grab his wrist if he tried to leave a conversation. She'd call him disrespectful if he didn't answer fast enough. She'd tell him I wouldn't believe him if he ever spoke up, that I'd think he was trying to cause trouble. He said he stopped talking about it because every time he tried to hint, I'd tell him to try to get along or not take things personally. Hearing that felt like a punch to the gut. He said the day it finally happened, she was screaming about him undermining her because he didn't take out the trash right after school. He said he told her she wasn't his mom and she slapped him across the face. Then she called me saying he'd shoved her. I grounded him that night. He said after that he just gave up trying to explain. I didn't interrupt him while he talked. I just listened. The whole time, I could feel this mix of rage and shame boiling up, but I kept it down, not at him, at myself, because that's the kind of moment that sticks with a kid forever. After he finished, I told him he was right about everything, and that from now on, he doesn't have to convince me of anything. If something's wrong, I'll believe him first and figure the rest out later. No questions asked. He didn't say much after that, just nodded, but I saw something shift in his face, not forgiveness exactly, but relief. Like he finally didn't have to carry it anymore. Since then, we've been finding new routines. I sold the house, too many ghosts in it. I moved to a smaller place closer to his school, nothing fancy, but it feels clean. Real. The first weekend he stayed over, we grilled burgers in the backyard and watched a movie. It wasn't some emotional, we're fixed now moment. It was quiet, normal, and that was enough. I got rid of every trace of Emma's things before moving. Furniture, clothes, even the stupid throw pillows she was obsessed with. Donated or dumped it all. Not out of spite, I just didn't want my kid to ever step foot in a place that reminded him of what he went through. He's opening up more these days. We still do therapy, and I don't miss a single session. He jokes with me sometimes again. He even called me dad the other day instead of just, hey, small thing, but it meant everything. As for everyone else, Emma's family, my own relatives who doubted me, I don't speak to any of them. When you watch people stay silent while your kid is hurt, you stop giving second chances. I don't need their validation, and I sure as hell don't need their apologies.